Hey guys, in this video I want to show you some clips from my interviews with Ernie Bailey, one of Nirvana's guitar techs, and Charles Peterson, a photographer who worked closely with the band for several years. In these clips, Ernie Bailey and Charles Peterson share some Nirvana Reading stories and more. Check it out. So just a question about Reading. In the videos I've seen, there's the band, and then there's this random guy on stage dancing with them. Do you know what I'm referring to?
Tony, yeah.
Yeah, who is that?
I know that if you watch the very first Reading, he comes out and he dances at that. So at Reading 91, he's I don't know what the history was of like how he came into the picture. I know I've read it, but I've since lost it. But when they did Reading again in I guess it was 92, they had him come back and do the interpretive dancing again. So.
Okay, so is he a guy that lives in Britain or like?
I believe so. Either Britain or possibly Scottish.
Okay, and who is he? What does he do?
No idea. Yeah.
He's just some guy. That's funny. So I'm taking it you were at that Reading show, right, in 92?
No, not 92. I wasn't. It was a really strange thing because I remember that they were putting together, as everybody was getting ready to go for it, it was like, friends were going and they were bringing their pets, and it was just like, what? But there was this decision made just to bring one guitar tech, I think, just to save some money. And so in Europe shows, Big John would work those, and I was working the U.S. ones. So I was doing all the repair work and all that stuff. But at that time, I think they still thought it was kind of excessive to do two techs at a show. And it's like you're headlining Reading. And so it was crazy. And I sat that one out, and they had some, unfortunate situation where a bass went missing off the other side of the stage because we just did not have coverage. So
really?
Yeah. So I think after that show was when it changed, and it was like, all right, we're going to have, we need a little more help on stage.
So you do have that one very famous picture of him at Reading where he's doing that jump in the air and he's got his feet kicked back a little bit. Do you remember taking that photo?
Yeah, I mean, I remember most of them. I mean, sometimes you don't know you got something until later on you got the film back. My favorite photo from that gig is the one where he's just standing there looking straight at me, and it was just, because he just sort of turned and was like, in between a song, and was like, hey guys, I was sitting next to Mark Arm, and he's just, everything okay, kind of thing, and we were like, yeah, go play, man, but it's a really, it's a beautiful kind of intimate, endearing shot.
100%, yeah. So you mentioned now that you were with Mark Arm on the side of the Reading stage.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was there from Seattle to witness that? Do you remember?
Mark was playing in Mudhoney earlier in the day, so it was on pretty much all Seattle lineup. Mark and Mark Lanigan and Streaming Trees and the Melvins, Bill Seven, and I can't remember who else.
And what was their reaction to the Reading show, Nirvana's performance?
Everybody's blown away by it.
How was that experience in general, the Reading Nirvana experience?
Reading was just a little bit overwhelming, honestly. I mean, when you go and you look at a list of the photographers in the press tent, and it's 96, So, and everybody gets their 5 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever out in the pit. I mean, Nirvana pulled me on stage, so I was up on stage the whole time for their show. But for some of the other bands, you just get a few minutes. And it was just, so, like, I had never really experienced anything quite like that before. Just in all the sea of scraggly kids and mud, and it was crazy. Did you talk to the band prior to the show? Do you know how they were feeling about it? I actually didn't run into them before the show. It was just Alex, their tour manager, pulled me up on stage, and then there was Kurt in his wheelchair, and we said hi. But I didn't see them.
Did you know he was going to come out in that wheelchair?
I didn't know that, no. So there he was with Everett True pushing him out.
And what was your reaction to seeing that?
I was like, okay, what's going on here? And then Everett kind of explained the joke, and I took a few, really. It was very dark, but I got a few pictures. Because of the rumors of drug abuse and blah, 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 and the baby and the not, that was the whole thing behind the joke of him coming out in the wheelchair. So there were those expectations of like, can Nirvana pull off a show this size? And are they, you know, is Kurt strong enough and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. I think, you know, I mean, just those of us were there were like, oh, this is great. We're lucky to be here and this is amazing. And yeah, I've never seen anything like this.
So after the show, what did you guys end up doing?
Oh, we went back to the Ramada Inn and got really, really drunk and closed the hotel bar down. And it was just absolutely really insane. Yeah. Like everybody collapsing in hotel rooms and wandering in hallways. And
Who was that? Do you remember?
oh, just you know, my friend Steve Mack from That Petrol Emotion and just Bob Whitaker, of course, up to his shenanigans. Lenny's tour manager.
With a show that incredible, was it hard to stay focused on the job?
I mean, I think sometimes the where I didn't stay focused on the job was before and after the shows. I should have taken more like sort of backstage and whatnot stuff, but I was also a little bit of an alcoholic at the time. So, you know, it was either one hand and it was like hard to juggle a camera and a drink, so yeah.
No worries. So was there any one particular song or moment from that show that sticks out to you?
You know, I mean, definitely when they did Smells Like Teen Spirit and the whole audience was sing along with the chorus or, you know, Come As You Are. And sing along. Yeah, it was really about the audience singing along with the band.
So when did you get to develop those photos you took from the Ready show?
Yeah, probably about 2 weeks later, I'd say. Yeah.
And when you saw them, were you happy with what you got?
Yeah. I mean, it was a dark show, you know, so I was a little bit concerned, but I was happy with what I got. Yeah.
So when you're in front of a huge crowd like that, is it often you get those intimate little moments when you're in front of so many people?
You know, it's hard. Yeah, I try and look for those, but it can be difficult to get like sort of intimate moments. Yeah, you have to know that sometimes the most important shots are not the shots in between the shots. It's not when the, you know, doing the thing at the microphone. You know, if you're always concentrate like this close up of the microphone and the singer, you're just losing all the rest of it. So sometimes it's about the audience, sometimes it's about the space that they're in. And you know, wide angle can be as intimate as telephoto. I mean, you just have to, you know, have that sensitivity, I guess. Yeah.
So, you know, these shows, the grunge shows that you're famous for, I mean, they were chaotic. Did you ever get hit by somebody when you were trying to take a photo?
Yeah, I got my flash knocked off a few times. I had plastic shoes, so it would get ripped off. And I had to threaten a bouncer now and then with a camera. Fuck all that kid, man. Yeah, I mean, you know, but it was just good fun.
Just going back to Nirvana for a second, their live shows were legendary, you know, for various reasons. Do you remember by any chance, like, the first show you saw of theirs where you was like, "Whoa, this is a great band"?
That first or second show I saw at the University of Washington ballroom, and it was just, but you know, I mean, seeing them later on, seeing them at Reading in front of 45,000 people, I mean, that's really when it cemented, like, wow, they can command like this massive stage and this, you know, sea of people, and it was like, okay, yeah, this is some serious shit here. Yeah.
I myself, I've done a little bit of concert photography as well. I've done mostly concert videography, but you know, it's more or less kind of the same vibe. And sometimes you're enjoying the show, and you know, you're taking the photos, you're taking the videos, and you want to stay focused on the performance, but you're actually enjoying the performance at the same time. For you, has it ever happened where like you kind of got lost in the moment enjoying the show instead of actually taking the photographs that you intended?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, certainly, you know, I mean, you know, there even a 45-minute show or even a 20-minute show sometimes can be long if you know, you can't, especially back in the film days. I mean, film was precious, so you weren't photographing like the entire show. So, yeah. But yeah, you had to be careful that you didn't get too lost and not beyond to miss the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, and that, you know, and I think that's also what made my photography somewhat unique is that, I'd say 75% of the time, I'm not really even looking through the viewfinder. So, So, you know, I moved to the music. I got into the front. I wanted to make it, and it feel like you felt the experience of being at one of these shows and what it was like. And so, you know, if I was just to go out there and stand rigid and try and do the perfect shot, you know, it just wasn't going to work out that way. So it's really it was about being loose and looking for new angles and just, you know, kind of like just what the music was doing.
You were shooting analog because there's no digital at the time. How did you, if you weren't looking at the viewfinder, how did you know if it was in focus what you were taking?
Well, if you're using wider angle lenses, you know, I mean, you have depth of field, so it'll flash, so it'll come into play, and you kind of pre-focus. You're 4 feet away, so you set it at 4 feet, and I can pretty much shoot from anywhere here, and you know, with a 24 millimeter at f5.6, it's going to be in focus. I still do that. I mean, that's still how I operate with photographing my kids or whatever. With a Leica, I just shoot because. Yeah, otherwise you're just...
Yeah, it takes the fun out of it a little bit, right?
Well, it's not even fun. It's the magic. It's kind of sort of... but I know my gear so well that I know what that angle is going to do.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you see, make sure to subscribe for more. All the videos on this channel are original. I'm the one conducting all the interviews and editing all the videos together. So if you guys like what you see and you want to support, the best way to do so is honestly just to subscribe. Lots more to come.